Okay.
Good morning, everybody. This is Doug Bruhnke. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Chamber. This is one of my favorite calls because it's about a topic that is just so important. Everybody needs to be doing sales and doing sales well to be effective with their spouse, with their kids, at work, at the grocery store, throughout our lives, we're just always doing at some level of sales to be able to make progress and to have influence. And so it's such an important aspect. And so to do it on a global scale, to do it in ways that influence people across cultures is really fun and sometimes challenging. And the other angle that makes it so challenging is the concept of how challenging the world is right now. It just really is. So today we've got an expert who is disappointed in a recent baseball outcome,
Oh
and
gosh.
as I am. However, we push on, and
No,
being
I'm
from
still
upstate New
depressed.
York and the Buffalo Bills, you get used to, depending on where you live, certain things that don't sometimes work out until when it does, like with the Chicago Cubs a few years ago, it becomes a particularly joyous moment. The world is somewhat chaotic. Business can be quite chaotic, like the way this meeting started today. And you can't really scale chaos for your business. And so, how do you have some level of control to be able, if you really want to grow, to be able to scale? Because it's just really difficult if things don't work. And so, Lauren Cohen is here to save the day. She's an international lawyer, and
Ay, ay,
she's a
ay.
realtor, and she's an investment strategist. And Lauren, you've got your life in control
I
at
do.
some level, and so we appreciate that. And you're going to help us guide for our business. And so thank you so much for taking the time today. I turn the floor over to you with maybe the question: how do you see the flow of today's conversation going? Are you going to speak? Are you going to take questions? How would you like to process
No,
it?
I'm going to speak so I can present what it is that we are doing with Elever Global Consulting and what that means for you. And then we'll have questions if that's okay. And thank you for the opportunity. I just did a presentation like right this moment, 5 minutes ago, for Slovenian investors. So you don't hear that every day. Okay, mostly it's Canadian, but today it was Slovenian, so that was a
Cool.
little different. But I appreciate the opportunity to share this, and I'm going to share my slides. So hopefully, and talk a little bit about this. And Pam, I don't know if you're on the call. Are you?
Is that a partner in crime for you
Yes.
today?
I'm here.
Okay, cool.
Pam's iPhone, we
So
see.
Pam
Yep.
is my
Yep.
partner in this business. And so I wanted her to be here so she could answer questions because she's on the one side of the business and I'm on the other side.
I didn't
She's
know I
on
was
the
going to be
com
on
side.
camera. Sorry.
Pardon me?
I didn't know I was going to be on camera today. I'm sitting
Okay, don't
outside.
worry.
All right.
So she's on the comm side and I'm on the transition side. I'm just kidding. So today I'm going to talk about the fact that you can't scale chaos and how important it is to establish your legal and operational background so that you can have sustainable, scalable growth. So a lot of us operate in chaos. Sometimes I do, like today when I did not realize that I had back-to-back presentations and I have throat issues. So I apologize for my voice in advance. But we're going to take you from chaos to calm, and that's the goal with Elever Global. Obviously, as a lawyer, I have to make a disclaimer. None of the information I'm going to share with you is to be relied upon as legal advice. We will be available to set up consultations to discuss your needs, your business's needs, and how to move through those needs and get you from where you are to where you want to be. So I am a Canadian living the American dream. I'm an international lawyer, realtor, and business strategist, immigration concierge, and quarterback, best-selling author. I've written 4 books. Global keynote speaker, activist, and philanthropist. I'm very, 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 very philanthropically oriented. I'm a mom to an usually awesome teenage son. He's 15, and two pups that are almost always awesome. So basically, through my work in investing across borders, my core business as an international lawyer helping businesses invest and expand mainly inbound to the US, I realized that there was a major gap because the businesses would get here or they would expand or they would buy real estate and they would not know what to do when they got here. And this is particularly relevant for startup entrepreneurs that have great ideas, but no idea how to run a business. Like from Israel, they're amazing. It's known as Startup Nation, brilliant ideas, no idea how to develop an infrastructure, and you can't scale chaos, as I said, as the title says. So we built a fractional services business to help businesses like yours scale and grow domestically and globally. Fractional services, for those that don't know, mean that basically we come in, provide C-suite level services on a fractional basis, so you don't have to hire a full-time employee, but we are available as your C-suite network, like a CEO, CFO, COO, CLO. Yes, there is such a thing as a chief legal officer, and everything in between. So we help you to scale and grow your business without the price tag of having to hire all of these amazing professionals. Pam is a strategic CFO and COO with 3 decades of experience in driving profitable growth, process improvement, cost optimization, KPI management, budgeting, financial planning, all the things that, are not my strong suit or Pam's strong suit. So we're great partners and really a great balance for each other. She's worked a lot across multiple organizational structures and industries, and she has the ability to really get under the hood of what is driving your lack of ability to scale and help you to find the path through it. You can't scale chaos. I always say that AI did not go to law school. You can rely on AI for a lot of stuff, but you still need the brain and the critical thinking that comes with going to law school or learning business experience. Sales without systems mean short-term wins with long-term pain, and 80% of small and mid-sized companies are just not set up properly and can't scale without that proper structure and setup. So, and then what happens, as many of you have heard about, is the corporate veil gets pierced, and that's never good because now they're going to come after you personally. So you can't just form a company and expect that to be all. You need to have the bylaws and operational agreements and the minutes and the resolutions and all of the elements that go into developing a strong business and strong infrastructure. Without that, you're basically kind of, running on empty, and you don't have the support and base and foundation that you need. It's like building a house without the base, without the foundation. You're just putting all the furniture in before the house is there, or you're putting the walls up before you have the ground, the foundation built. Never a good idea, and it's a really big deal. So the risk is that your corporation can be ignored in court and they can come after you personally, but we help to ensure your business is documented and on all of your systems are in place, because structure protects, documentation defends, and we provide both. We turn ambitions into scalable systems by taking your vision and turning it into an actionable structure so that you can begin with the end in mind. Somebody said yesterday that's a Stephen Covey book. It actually goes way back to the Bible or the Torah, begin with the end in mind, Pirkei Avot, ethics of our fathers, where you always have to begin with the end in mind. And always use the example of, granted, we didn't always have GPS, but now when we get in the car and we don't have GPS, unless we know where we're going, we're not going to get there. So, that's the same for your business. If you don't have a destination, you're not going to get there because you're not going to know where you're going. You're just going to go like this, right? Chaos. The new era of going global involves global markets with bigger revenue and stronger currency and diversified risk. So you have to make sure that you have the right structure in place to unlock higher valuations and access capital. An international presence will boost brand authority, long-term resilience, and exit opportunities. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, and global success will follow. Okay. Your growth partners. We are really designed to be your growth partners with concierge legal, real estate, and business strategy, guiding entrepreneurs to expand, invest, and even relocate both domestically and across borders, with a high-level strategic advisory service designed to help scale, operate, brand, and build your international business structure. So together they offer a streamlined strategy that helps with execution with compliance in mind throughout the process. Our full expert team covers all aspects of legal, tax, real estate, finance, relocation, operations, and strategy. You can't scale chaos. I keep saying it, but it's just so true. You can prepare, we help you prepare for domestic and global scaling by strengthening your financials, your cash flow, your key KPIs, and internal operations, and helping with the SOPs, the operating procedures, standard operating procedures for multi-location or multi-country growth. The outcome is that your business will have the opportunity to become scalable, fundable, and globally competitive. I love when this happens with my slides because there's too much amazing graphic in there. So due diligence, it's the global expansion non-negotiable. You can't scale unless you're able to pass due diligence. You can't sell, you can't acquire, you can't do much unless you're able to pass all of the elements of due diligence: legal, financial, real estate, international tax planning, making sure that you have all of the elements in place so that you can be successful when you're undergoing or being put through due diligence, and all aspects have to be there intertwined. So we support you with full spectrum due diligence, US market entry roadmaps, and for that matter, market entry roadmaps into multiple other countries. And most importantly, or not most importantly, but one of the important elements which is relevant here is access to our vetted partner network, because we don't bring anybody into our network that hasn't been vetted, because they're going to work under me. And guess what? At the end of the day, we are accountable for their actions. So we want to make sure that they're the best at what they do. Protection is growth insurance. Compliance ensures your foundation is strong. Contracts protect relationships, and governance, corporate governance, that is making sure that you have all of your bylaws and your resolutions and your annual meetings and everything done properly. That creates accountability and investor confidence. So legal clarity is the same as operational stability and leads to scalable success. Fractional expertise with full service results. That's what we offer, because we come in and we provide all of these services, again, at a very high level, top tier expertise and experience with seasoned professionals. Yes, we are both very seasoned professionals. We actually are the same age, but I'm not going to share that with you. And it's a C-suite level expertise without having to pay for the full-time cost. So it's everything that you need to scale and grow your business without having to pay the $300,000 per head that you would need to pay if you were hiring us individually or hiring those services that are offered through us. Proven systems, trusted partners, and measurable impact. That's what we're all about at the end of the day. So what happens when you build it right? You build it successfully. You can scale your business. You can scale across borders. Our clients love us because we do things the right way. I wouldn't work with anyone else. When I want things done, I want them done right. Jay and Corey Facette. They have an international joint venture business that manages joint ventures for companies and clients all over the world. You name it, we've been there, and we help clients by holding their hands, as Glenn Sutherland said, throughout the process, being very responsive, answering every question quickly. As I said, my son is sometimes like, oh my goodness, another client, mom. This family recently, the one at the bottom corner with my little dog in her arms, they recently moved to Central Florida, and our real estate investors from the Brazilian Canadians moved to South Florida, or Central Florida, I should say, and they are just happy. They're happy that they're not in Ottawa, I'll tell you that much. But they're really happy and thrilled about building a life through real estate investing. Some case studies: an entrepreneur in the marketing space had an idea for a consumer product line that would fill an underserved niche, but he had no idea how to bring it to life, and we guided him through the process, and his products will be on the shelves soon. A sustainable healthcare innovator from Brazil partnered with us to access U.S. investors and distribution channels, and they secured early funding, launched pilot partnerships in Florida, and positioned themselves for long-term status and growth. A legal services company stuck in a founder's trap, which is kind of like, analysis paralysis, worked with us so we could create operational processes and implement technological solutions to shore up the foundation, and now they are doubling in the number of clients that they're serving. Canadian investors sought to expand into the US real estate market, we helped them by offering co-living investments and creating a deck and plans that were not unprecedented, and now they are building joint ventures and a successful business in Florida. We helped a UK-based electric transport startup company prepare for a US launch and raise capital by developing a business plan and pitch deck that was well received and obviously funded. So at the end of the day, your next step is to look at us, to audit what you're doing, align your position, help rebuild and restructure your goals, and accelerate so that you can scale confidently with us as your partner. And this slide is my most exciting one. You can't scale chaos, but you can scale strategy. So book your business discovery call today. I think there's a free link. I'll put it in the chat. And if you want to spend a little time figuring out how we can help you scale your business both across domestic borders and across country borders, we are happy to do that. That's what we do all day, every day. And I'm here to answer questions.
Great. So I mean, what you're saying, to scale a business, it's more than sales. It's a whole end-to-end operational excellence, or certainly well enough to be able to do a lot of things. So that's great. Does anybody have any?
The biggest challenge is that a lot of people, a lot of business owners think sales is the be all and end all, and it's kind of like the title says, you can't scale chaos. So you can sell and sell and sell, but if you don't have the right foundation in place, you're going to hit a wall and you're not going to be able to get past it.
That makes a lot of sense. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Or and Pam, do you? It sounds like you might have been surprised about the video part. That's not so important. But did you have any additional comments that you wanted to make? It sounds like you guys work together. Where are you, Pam? And Lauren, you're in Florida, but Pam, where are you?
I'm in Florida as well. In terms of adding to what Lauren said, I think she did a fantastic job. That's why she speaks. I prefer to be in the back. I'd much rather work a spreadsheet than a room. So Lauren, thank you for doing another amazing job and sharing what we offer. We're happy to help.
I got to tell you, I didn't realize I was really fast. I was trying to speed through it because we're a little late. But in any event, next time I won't go as quickly, because I think there's a lot of important stuff that we cover. And you know what Pam brings to the table, completely complementary to me, is the ability to really develop a strategy, do RFPs, for example, for the government, figure out what is missing in what you're doing, why you aren't able to scale, how to really use AI as your friend. And maybe you can speak to that for a second, Pam, because she is just as she calls herself an AI geek. So I'm not insulting her by saying that.
No, not at all. Proud to be. No, I think that it's an excellent point. You really have to get under the hood of where you are now to set yourself on the right path forward towards your goals. So an under the hood analysis, gap analysis, what do you have? What are you missing? Especially, and I want to give Lauren compliments here, especially in the area of compliance and governance, and looking at all your documents. I can't underscore that point more. If you don't have this foundation, and the foundation poured correctly, to use that construction metaphor, you really have put yourself at risk. So starting with looking at where you are, what you're missing, and then what you need to add, whether that's human resources, whether that's AI or technology resources, whether that's process and operational resources. If you really identify those steps and implement a step-by-step plan to get you where you need to go, then all those additional sales become additive to the bottom line. And that's really what the goal is. Get yourself where you need to be so that when you scale, it's profitable growth.
Yeah.
One of the people, and Carla Watt is in the audience, and she's a sales expert. And I'm wondering, given what you heard today, kind of the framework that was laid out, what do you have any response or thoughts? How does this play into the way you look at selling and growing companies?
Well, first of all, nice to meet you, Lauren. Obviously, just jumped on. I'm based in the UK, so great presentation. Like I said, it was a bit foul. I was keeping up, but because you do a lot, you do a lot. So, but I would always agree with things like the foundation, and obviously what you're trying to cover, I think, with companies as well, is just phenomenal, because there's always a bigger picture. I'm probably more in the sales aspect of just making sure that grows, but like you, I won't just look at the sales aspect. I will look at what else is in, and I try to make the whole system have to flow. But unless the foundations, like you say, you're at that foundation stage of building, without it, it will fall down. It always falls down. And I just wish more companies would actually take.
People don't realize that, it's like,
Oh,
that,
yeah.
there's so many books about sales first and blah, 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 and whatever. And at the end of the day, you as a sales strategist are the best ally for us, because sales is lovely, but they can only take you so far. Money, I always say that legal compliance, they may be a cost center, but really they're a profit center, because it opens so many doors and prevents them from closing, which is just as important. And I think that people don't realize this, and they don't pay enough attention to it.
No, I find certainly when I go into companies that they pay attention when they've actually got to, when it's hitting them in the face, and it's always reactive instead of proactive. And sadly, that's where most of the issues then come from, and that's where we have to then go in and sort that out. I do wish there was more people like you that would just come in and just say, actually, please see the bigger holistic picture of what we're trying to get to. But and I don't understand why there's not some kind of academy out there that covers all this, that if you're going to set up a business, that you have to go and do this. It's like a legal compliant that you have to go and do this, and at least get some kind of foundation, because that would save a lot of issues. And I see so many lovely businesses fall down because they don't listen, because they are quite tunnel visioned as well.
Well, it's funny, because it's really true of so many things. Like, I deal with people that are having issues crossing borders, expanding their businesses, and nobody's listening right now when I'm telling them that things are changing. And if you're not listening and you're doing business in the US and you don't get a visa, you're not going to be able to do business anymore. And way too many people are waiting until they get stopped. And once you get stopped, it becomes a problem. But people tend to be like that. They're not proactive, they're reactive, and you need to be proactive. And it's a really, really important element of what you need to do.
It is, because I've noticed that once they then learn those lessons the hard way, they've just wasted X amount of money, they've just wasted X amount of time, and then the businesses thrive after that when they're starting to go back into it, because they've learned those lessons. Rather, and I always say to them, it's like, if you want to like tone up, go to the gym, you can do it yourself in 6 months' time. But if you've got a target to do it in 3 months, go and get yourself a personal trainer. It's going to get you there a lot faster, and the knowledge is going to be there, and you don't even have to think about it, because they don't understand the time, the energy, the money, and all the costs of things like that. They just have a great idea and go with it. So I totally understand. I totally understand your model and what you're trying to do, but I would always second that foundation for everything. You can't scale chaos.
Well,
I totally agree with
you and Pam and I should have a call. So
Absolutely. And I'll tell you another scenario that's completely relevant to what you just said. We have a client, a marketing agency, with two sort of dynamo founder owners that sell all day long, and successfully made connections with 40 some odd big corporations. But they didn't have the base underneath to support them. So they found themselves stuck in the weeds, solving operational problems all day. And then the clients disappeared because they didn't have the capability of servicing them. So you can bring in a large client, but if you can't support that client with your base, with your people, with your process, with your systems, you're not going to keep that client for very long.
Oh, Pam, it's so frustrating. I hear you, and I hear the pain, because the frustration for me is when I do go into companies and they have this plan and we have the goal, and then it's like, first stage, if we bring this in, we bring you goal, how's the rest of the company? Is the rest of the company set up to deal with this? Oh, no, we need the rest of the company, because the customer journey has to really start, because it's also about retention as well. I said, so if the customer journey falls here from a sales perspective, all you're going to do is we call it a churn and burn. You're just going to churn and burn, and it's just going to go, and you never scale. And it's a case of get the customer journey right, do the sales process right, do the onboarding, whatever your style or whatever it is you're doing. The rest of the business has to be prepped and ready to take that on board. And even if it's just from an understanding of that, that's going to give you, for you to plan to bring that in when the money comes in, depending on what the cash flow is, it's still got to be in place. And it's just changing the mindset for that. So yeah, I hear your frustration. I see it all the time.
So just to reiterate, this link in the chat to schedule a call is with both Pam and myself, and there is no fee. So, you know, I don't know how long that's going to continue, because I charge for consultations, but right now that's what we're doing to build our relationships and so on and so forth. Our key, for those of you that are here today, to success is strategic relationships like the Global Chamber, and being available as a resource. You know, I've been doing this a long time.
Well, I don't know, Donna Smiley, you're in the call, and one of the things, having known her not too long now, but I've known her long enough, where she's got a lot of what you guys talked about in terms of a lot of things on the plate, doing an awful lot of things. And so, Donna, you've been successful somehow juggling a lot of different balls in the air, multiple businesses. What about, I don't know how much of today's conversation you heard, but is there anything that resonates with you and advice that you might have?
Yeah, so I literally just sent Lauren a message. We were supposed to do a call, and she said my phone number didn't work, and then it was a whole situation. So I need to rebook with her. I'm so sorry about that. And I have a ton of filters.
Okay, 2 strikes.
Tap me now. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that never happens, but I have filters in my email. So your email went to a filter, and I just saw it recently. So that's why I got on this call, because I was like, I need to talk to her. But yeah, I do a lot of stuff with India. And I do feel like there's synergy between Lauren and I of how we can work together with the things I have going on with India. So I will be booking another call. I won't miss this one because I know her time is valuable pertaining to what I have going on with India. But yeah, I've had the pleasure of working with some Indian companies and actually bringing them to Georgia. So this is right up my alley of working with Lauren and learning more about what Lauren does outside of her brief presentation, to see where the synergy is and how we can work together on some things with India for sure. I'm excited about it. And thank you for all the information you shared. It was actually very informative.
Yeah, I think that things for India have changed drastically in the past. It
has.
Because of the H-1B. And just to share with you guys, so I myself am from Canada, and I had 4 H-1Bs. Okay. Now, does anybody know what they're charging now for an H-1B, other than Pam, because I talk about this all the time? So it was $5,000, and now it's $100,000 for filing fee for an H-1B. Nothing to do with what they pay the employee. So that means that they would have to pay me whatever they paid me, and pay $400,000, 4 times 100. So I say, I wouldn't be here if that had been in place when I came, because there's nobody. I mean, I'm good, but I'm not that good. And so the things are changing, and that has had a huge impact on India, because India and India is the #1 country for H-1Bs, really. So it's had a huge impact, and you have to find other options for Indian investors or Indian entrepreneurs.
And another question, what industries in your experience has been the most complex when it comes to like cross-border requirements?
That's a tough one to answer. I think crypto and stuff to do with all the new technologies and new types of, I guess, currency. the most heavily regulated industries are obviously the most challenging. The ones that are subject to tariffs, for example, right now are challenging, but so is real estate, because it's changing the rules about investing in real estate for foreign nationals, for example, inbound to Canada, are very different than they were a year ago. So you have to look at each industry and figure out, are there recent changes? How do they impact? It's a very comprehensive process, and I think that people tend to overlook that. And for example, I just got off this call that I did for Slovenian investors, and there's a guy locally here, I'm not going to name his name obviously, and he sets up companies for foreigners, and he just sets them up, and he doesn't look at what happens to the companies in their home, or to the investors in their home country, doesn't look at the international tax issues. He just says, oh yeah, we can get you a tax ID here in the US, and that's the end of the story. But it's not. And that's so important. And another factor is, a lot of people help companies come into the country but pay no attention. That's why I started this thing. That was my impetus. They pay no attention to, okay, now you're here, so now what? You have a family, you have to support them. How does that look? You bring your kids over. You don't want to go packing back to wherever you came from, because there's a lot of factors. And you also don't want to just come here for a few years and then have to leave. So you need a short and a long-term strategy. So there's just a lot of different moving parts that go into the process, and people tend to overlook most of them.
Thank you for that.
Sounds good. Thank you, Donna, for participating today, and I'm glad you guys are connected. I think that pretty much wraps things up, unless you guys wanted to say some additional things. What do you want to do? Any final comments, Lauren, in terms of wrapping up?
Well, I will say this: if you have any interest in expanding and scaling, or potentially exiting, you have to plan long before. Otherwise, you're going to end up spinning your wheels and not being able to accomplish your goals, or you'll get a valuation that's a third of what you should. So it's well worth investing in your future and your business before you need to. Like you said, Carla, before, being proactive is the key to success here. And I think Pam mentioned, or somebody mentioned, that you could have access to all kinds of strategic partnerships that you may be leaving on the table, all kinds of potential government contracts that you may be leaving on the table. There are all kinds of AI opportunities that you may not know about. So now you're spending all your time doing stuff that the time could be much better spent doing other things. So if you want to scale your business, it's always better to do it with people that can take you through the process, instead of trying to be the be all and end all for yourself, because we're not experts at everything.
I have a question.
I'm definitely not a process expert. Okay,
Really?
That's why I have Pam.
I have a question really quick. So like for me, right, I do commercial real estate. How can I'm not a lawyer, but how can I stay on top of these changes that are happening?
You can't.
Okay. That's what I wanted to hear.
I gotta
Okay.
be honest. It's overwhelming for us.
Yeah. Okay.
It's overwhelming, even as an immigration lawyer. Every day there's something else that's happening. Being an immigration lawyer this year has been the most challenging year for all of us, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, or even some people are like, wait, what? That happened? What? So the most important thing that you can do is have experts in your corner to help you, and I'd say this about, like, if people are trying to guide, let's say you have a foreign national who wants to invest here and doesn't know how, don't try to figure it out, because playing a lawyer is the worst thing that you could possibly do. Okay. Whether it's me or anybody else, work with somebody that has expertise or knows how to get to the answers that you need, because otherwise you're going to be doing yourself a disservice as well as the client. And I'm here as a resource, really. That's part of why I joined the Global Chamber. So, and Doug, have I talked you into coming on the cruise yet?
Oh, no, not in a million years. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not a.
never. I had
My-
2 or 3 people sign up yesterday. I was like, oh my God, how'd that happen?
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, I think there are cruise people and there are people who are not into cruises.
I get it.
I'm not into cruise, but
Well, if anybody is interested, I think he has like two cabins left on this amazing business cruise from San Juan in the spring, in March. And the most beautiful part of it for me is that it's on Virgin, so there's no children. So I'm very, very excited. I love going on a cruise with no kids because I need a break. So that's
it's a Caribbean cruise, and you said February?
March 21st, 28th.
So I don't know when the Festival of the Diaspora is, but I think it's somewhere around then. That's an event in San Juan that we're supporting. So,
Oh,
so
cool.
I'll
Well,
just
maybe
double check it.
if you let me know the date. I haven't booked my flight, so maybe I'll book them around that.
I think that might be February, but I'll double check. Thanks everybody for joining. Lauren, particularly, thank you for sharing. This is great information, sobering information, and important information for people who are growing. And so hopefully those of you who are watching this on video, Lauren is amazing in terms of her involvement in so many things, including scaling and growing a business. So reach out to her. If you can't find her information, she shared it today. But if it's inconvenient, or you, for whatever reason, want to save a moment, info@globalchamber.org gets you to Global Chamber. Our goal is to help people be successful. Whatever they're doing, give them more opportunities more simply. And amidst all of that, while those opportunities are being processed, what we talked about today is having enough order in your world to be able to get those things through and scale whatever you start. So thank you, Lauren, for everything. Thanks everybody for participating. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Thanks all. Thanks, Bazil. Thank you.